Hello, everyone. My name is Joanna L. Howard, and I am so excited to be in the cafe today. Today, we will be discussing my new book, Ed the Advisor. And I'm going to answer 5 questions that I have received since I published the book. I will also be taking questions from the audience. So if you have a question, be sure to put them in the comments listed below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. If I don't have enough time to actually answer all the questions, no need to worry. I will definitely come back later and answer all of those questions for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So my first question that I have received is, tell me about the book. So Ed the Advisor is a book about a talking goat that gives advice to other animals. Then one day he meets a cow that has issues that he cannot solve. So this book kind of takes you through Ed's journey as he discovers that you can't always rely on others to solve your problems. Sometimes you have to look within to find that strength to deal with things on your own. Which leads me to question number 2. What inspired you to write this book? So I actually wrote this book when I was 9 years old. Yes, I said it, 9 years old. I can't believe it myself. This book was a huge class assignment for me. It was very detailed. It is something that took a lot of time. But my teacher, she actually had us build a book literally from scratch. We had to do everything for this book. When I say literally, I mean everything. We had to make the pages, we had to bind the book together, we had to laminate the book, we had to create our own illustrations, we had to create an imaginary publishing company, and we had to create a bio. I mean, from beginning to end, we had to literally create a book from scratch. So I have to be honest, I am truly amazed that this book is still in one piece. It is, especially since it's one of my kids' favorite book. I mean, this thing has lasted 30 plus years. I have found this book literally in the trash. I found it on the floor. I found it in my kid's toy box. I don't remember exactly what I got on this assignment, but I am thankful because my mother is actually the one who saved this book. She saved this book for me and she gave it to me when I became an adult, along with my baby book. So my 2 cousins, who are more like sisters to me, they're the ones who actually encouraged me to publish it. So I'm going to send them a quick shout out to Lawanda and Danya, because if they had not pushed me to actually publish the book, you guys probably would have never seen it. So shout out to them. So I'm gonna move on to my question number 3, which is, did you want to become an author as a child? So how many people think that I did want to become an author? So I would have to say yes, 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 yes. I have always loved writing, which is really weird because I grew up with 2 learning disabilities. So my first learning disability that I have is called dyscalculia. And what this is, it affects your ability to understand numbers in mathematical equations. So I also had another disability, which is called reading comprehension. And for most of you know, the average person can read something maybe once or twice, and it makes sense to them. For me, I had to read things multiple times, and multiple times could mean 6 or 7 times. I had a problem trying to decipher what the paragraph was telling me to do and how to pick out certain points within the paragraph. So it was a struggle for me in school. And I actually attended learning disability class all through up until high school, up until my junior year in high school. So for me as a child, it always felt more comfortable to write down my thoughts and my feelings because I couldn't always express those to anyone else. So even to this day, I always keep a journal. I always kept a journal as a child, and I always keep a journal today. I actually have a journal now because I literally write everything down. All my thoughts, all my things. And a lot of times I use that information to create my books. things that I have learned, processes that I have went through, things that, I have done. I keep those all in journals, and then I go back, and that's where I usually get my information for my material. Which leads us to question number 4. Why did you decide to publish the book almost 30 years later? Well, I this is pretty much an easy one for me. It's mostly for my kids. I have read this book to them several times. I have told them the story of how it was created, and some of the difficulties that I experienced as a child. Um, so I just wanted them to know that their dreams are attainable and that the only limits that they have are the ones that they put on themselves. I want them to know that you may have to do things differently. It may not look like everybody else's, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You just need to find out what works for you, and how to use that to your advantage. So I want them to know that they can do anything that they set their minds to. And that's one of the big reasons why I went ahead and published it and wanted to share with everybody else, just because of the histories, and the background surrounding the book. So, which leads to my last question, which is, what do you hope a child will gain from reading this book? Well, there's definitely several things. Anyone who knows me knows that I am passionate about helping people. I love serving others. Even as a child, and you can tell even by this book that I had a passion for helping people. I'm trying to give people advice and trying to, steer people in the right direction. So that's one of the things that I've always been passionate about. So I kind of dedicated this book to every child who wants to, make an impact in this world. I want them to gain confidence in themselves, be confident in themselves and gain confidence in themselves, and have them trust their own unique special gifts and their abilities. There's nothing that you can't do. The world is a limit. You can put anything you set your mind to, you can do it. You just have to figure out how. I recently read a book, is Everything is Figure Outable, and it really just spoke to my spirit because everything can be figured out. I mean, you have to think outside of the box in some things, but everything is figure outable. So I want to, kind of relate that to, individuals, especially children, that you can do anything you put your, don't let any goal be so far that you can't attain it. Put it out there and see what you can do. Always strive to make your goal. So that's one of the reasons why I love, love, love this book, why I want to get it into everybody's hands, especially for the kids, because I think it's very encouraging for them. I think it's very encouraging to see that, I wrote this book when I was a child. I was still a baby back then, 9 years old. I'm in my 40s now. So it's like, if I had this dream back then and I'm actually living that now, I hope that that's an encouragement to them, that there's nothing that's not attainable, that you can do anything that you set your mind to. So I am super excited. So now we're going to do kind of like a question and answer session. If anybody has any questions, just put those in the comments and I will definitely get to those. Trying to think of some other things that I can tell you pretty much about the book. Some of the things on the book, like I tried to keep the book as original. So all the drawings, all the writing, I didn't change the book that much at all. There was a few grammar issues that I changed. I just had those corrected. It was only like 2 or 3. So my teacher really did, let us, have full range with this book. All the pictures are originals. Like I didn't do, and there's one picture that I did a touch up on, just for one of the pages, but that was pretty much it. And I didn't really change the picture. There were some things on a table that I took off. And there's some reasons for that. But anyway, pretty much everything in this book is original to its original content. Um, this book has held the test of, has stood up the test of times. Like I'm still amazed at the fact that it's still here and it's still bind and it's still, in one piece. So literally the laminating and everything that I did on that, I mean, literally has held up, 30 plus years. So it's just amazing to see, um, something that's so valuable to me, how, it stood the test of time. So yeah, so I kept all the things. There's only 2 pictures that I didn't put in the book. One was a self-portrait of myself, and to be honest, I was just too embarrassed to put that in. And the other one is we had to come up with like a fake publishing company. So we had to do like a title page with the publishing company and its information on there. So because I have a real, publishing, copyright and all that, I didn't include that in the book. And I also did not put the bio because the bio was a 9-year-old bio. So yeah, so I did not put that in there just because it wasn't relevant to, this day and age. Um, but I am super proud of what I did. I mean, I look back on there and I think, wow, even as a 9-year-old, that's a lot to accomplish, a lot to do as a child. And to actually see it come to fruition is really, it's really special to me. So I'm very thankful for that. Um, some of the things that I ran into is not really problems, but issues that I didn't realize. So I had never printed a book in color before. All of my books have been, in black and white, with the exception of the cover of the book. So there were some challenges in trying to preserve the original pictures that I drew. So I had to go through um, several graphic designers because the first two that I did, we couldn't get it to work. We just could not. We tried and tried and tried. We couldn't get it to format right or anything. So we end up having to, go a different route. So finally, I did get it to a graphic designer that was able to kind of preserve all the colors, was able to format it without cutting it down so much. So that was, that was pretty special, but that was a challenge that I ran into trying to figure out how to do that. The book itself was already written. I didn't have to do much with that, but actually trying to get it in a book format where I could publish it did take a little bit of time. So I did have to work through some issues with that. But I am really proud of, the outcome. Just I did, I made minimum changes. I did update my name on the front, but the written and illustrated, that portion was already there. So I kind of left it there and just updated it to my married name. So I am super excited. I think it did take a lot longer than I thought to get it in this format. But I am super excited and very proud of the progress that I made on it. So yeah, so another question that I did get that I didn't necessarily put in the beginning one is someone asked me, would I write another children's book? And I have played around with the ideal of writing another children's book, but more because I'm a trainer by nature, most of my books have to do with professional or personal development. So I have been looking at writing books like teaching kids how to, write maybe a handwriting book or, an activities book. So I am looking at that. I've already started it. I'm not sure if it'll be done this year, but yes, I do have some plans to do some other things with kids and because I have kids, I like to test it out with them first. So we've looked at some things and I've kind of got their take on a lot of the children's things. So there will be an activity book coming soon. I'm not exactly sure when. So let's see if we have any questions. Will I make okay, so we do have a question. One is, will I make any books about my past learning disabilities? I am not going to rule that out. I think there's a lot of things that people think just because you look okay, that there's okay, but sometimes people have issues and things that others don't see. Um, so I think I definitely will write something that not only addresses the disability, but address how children should respond to one another, how to be kind to individuals, because I struggled a lot growing up. When you're taken out of the class and you have to attend learning disability class, you're being made fun of. People thought basically that I was stupid. And it was like I wasn't stupid. I just had to do things a little bit differently than others. So definitely, I will not rule out creating something where, I teach kids how to respect others, how to be kind, and how to not look at people's disability, but look at their abilities. So yes, I definitely will. Will there be a sequel or series? There won't be a sequel or series to Ed the Advisor. However, I have authored two other books. One of the books that I have is called The Mom Chronicles. The first book was Navigating Life, Work, and Motherhood During a Pandemic. That one I do plan to do a series, so it will be under the Mom Chronicles series. So I do have some works in that. The next one that I'm working on is called The Mom Chronicles, Confessions of a Working Mom. So I've already started writing that one. So yes, that book will have a series, but my children's book will not. So another question, will you write a book with your kids? You know what? I'm not going to rule that out either. I have one child who's very interested, which is my son, and then I have one child who is not, which is my daughter. So we'll see. I think for the activities book, I have asked their input on what they like and what they don't like. So they have been giving me input on that. So I do plan to use their input for that. But my son, I think he will actually write a book because he's very interested in it. He wants to know the ins and outs. He loves to draw and color. So definitely, I think he may have a book in him. So I'm not leading that, ruling that out. Um, so yeah, I definitely like it. So thank you guys for the interaction. I do appreciate that. Talking before, I do have other books. I have written 3 books and definitely a lot of training material. But my first book was called Lessons My Father Taught Me, and it's basically just about my road to salvation. How, the things that I went through that leaded up to me giving my life over to Christ. So that was the first book that I published. That was in 2009. Then I did the Mom Chronicles, Navigating Life, Work, and Motherhood During a Pandemic. And that book was pretty much based off of everything that I went through, when COVID shut everything down. I don't know about you, but having 2 kids in school and having to homeschool, having to work full time. I mean, there was some real challenges on top of, being, fearing that you might get this disease, not knowing, what the outcome of this would be. So it was just a lot of emotions that I went through, a lot of things that I learned during that whole process. And I thought those would be some valuable tips to give to other mothers. Now, the book does talk about the pandemic, but I think the tools and the information that I put in there, you could easily use any day of the week. So I hope that people will at least gain that information from the book that hey, do the best you can. It's like, we are working under extreme pressure, under unknown circumstances. Give yourself some grace. You are doing a great job. So those are the things that I kind of, put in that book to kind of uplift other parents and let them know that there is help out there. Um, and one thing, all my books are designed for quick reads because I am a mom and time is of the essence. So time, literally, I don't have a lot of time to do anything. So I kind of wrote it in a way where you don't have to read chapter by chapter. You can just open up, find the chapter that you need, get the information you need to be done. Or if you want to read it from cover to back end, you could. So it's designed to be a short read, but packed full of information that can be useful to you. So definitely love, love, love that. And then, of course, this is my latest book at The Advisor. So yes, but I also have some other additional books that are coming out. I'm working on a marriage book. It's called He Said, She Said the Truth About Love and Marriage. And actually, I always tell people I don't know when this book is going to be done because my husband has given me lots of information to put in it. No, all jokes aside, I have been writing this book for years, and it's just because I keep adding information to it and adding information to it. So hopefully I will have that book done by the end of the year. Make no promises on that. Of course, I have the Mom Chronicles book coming out. And then I have another book called From Powerless to Powerful. And it talks about keys to developing self-confidence. So I'm super excited about that. And so in case you don't know, I am a teacher and trainer by trade. So anything that I can do to help people advance in their personal or professional lives, that is what I'm here for. All right, guys. So thank you so much. I don't see any other questions in the chat. But if you have any questions, you can definitely put them in the chat and I will respond to them later. It has truly been a pleasure to come out here and to give you a little bit of insight of why I wrote this book. I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Anne Marie Bryant for giving me this opportunity. I definitely appreciate this. I would also like to thank everyone that tuned in to this live broadcast. It's been a pleasure. If you would like to follow me or find out what I'm doing, you can definitely follow me at JoannaHoward.com, which is my website. I'm also on all of the social media sites. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram under Joanna Howard. My Facebook handle is Joanna Howard LLC. I also have a LinkedIn page. I have an Amazon authors page. So I would love for you guys to get connected with me. I would love to get to know each and every one of you, um, and will enjoy just kind of, sharing some of the things that I have learned, some of the things that I'm thinking about, and some of the things that I'm working on with you. So if we don't have any other questions, I will see you later. Don't forget to purchase the books. They will be listed in the comments section, and also there'll be a post out with how to get these materials, either for your classroom or, for yourself personally. So, once again, thank you for connecting with me. Thank you for taking the time out to learn a little bit more about the book. I have enjoyed you guys, and I hope that you all have a blessed day. Bye bye.